I would now like to welcome the Contract Supervisor Representative of ILACO, Mr. Ravinda Patadin, to give his remarks.
It's a pleasure to be here today. As a matter of fact, I'm here almost in this project for almost 3 years now. So I have been able to grasp the project, to understand what's in the project, what's out of the project, what is needed. But I also understand there are budgetary and quality restrictions where we as a supervisor have to deal with. The project itself, in general speaking, 5,000 meters of sewerage system, roads, house connections, upgrading on the eastern side, I call it, of the Illich Road. If we know the area, we know what to do, contractor knows what to do. So our role as a supervisor is to ensure that time, quality, and cost are met according to the conditions set in the contract. Now, as ILACO, we have been dealing with this probably for more than 50 years. We work in the Caribbean. I myself have been in St. Martin for some time. I lived here as well, so I'm not really strange. Although, I must admit, I came back after Hurricane Irma, and I truly can say I did see a change. I mean, it was really like when you are here, you know everything, then it happens. We have started. Again, we have tried to establish let's say, the way to go forward. And I really hope that with today's activity, it's ceremonial, but we can at least proceed and hopefully somewhere next year, August, September next year, we can be hopefully here again with raising probably the glass saying we have finished it on time.
Thank you, Mr. Patadin, for those remarks. I would now like to welcome to the podium the General Works Contractor Representative of Van Boekel, Mr. Lars Brandt.
It was about 6 months ago when we had a meeting here in the region, in the town hall, the kickoff. I introduced Van Boekel, new on St. Martin, but with the intention to stay. And I talked about Van Boekel being a family business, and with family business comes sharing values, respect to the family, doing things together. Doing things together. I talked about working together, creating a team of motivated employees. So in a way, we would not only leave a physical project here in St. Martin, but also a social footprint here on the island and especially here in Dutch Quarter. The last months, we haven't made much physical progress in the works, but I can say we started to get learning the locals. And the locals start learning us as well. And I can tell you, the guys from Dutch Quarter, they are special. In a way, they might say the same about us, but that differs. But I do really think that we are getting in a positive flow with the local guys. We're going in the right direction. And we are starting to share values I was talking about. And I sincerely hope that when we have finished this project, we not only have successfully renovated Dutch Quarter, but we also made a lot of friends here in Dutch Quarter. And maybe we extended the Van Boekel family a little bit, or the Dutch Quarter family extended a little bit to our sides. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brandt, for those remarks. I would now like you to help me invite the representative of the Dutch Quarter Community Council, Mr. Sidney De Weaver.
As protocol has already been established, I once again bid all present a hearty welcome to Lower Princess Quarter. or as I grew up knowing it, the country, and as of late is also known as DQ. My grandmother, who grew up just across the street here in what is known as Garden of Eden, had a saying, or actually had two sayings really, or a combination of sayings, and one of them stood out where she says, "Nothing happens before its time, and everything has its time." My grandfather, who hailed from right where we stand today, this afternoon, the other side of the street from my grandmother, also had a couple of sayings. And one of them, or also a combination, is that not all glitters is gold, and nothing comes for free. Those two sayings hold very true to this project in many ways, and coming from two people that hail from Dutch Quarter and love this neighborhood to the best and wanted the best for this neighborhood at that time. And looking at this project, which had a long history of false starts, surrounded by politics. But here we are today, groundbreaking for what will help raise the standard of living for the residents of Dutch Quarter in alleviating the running raw sewage through the streets of Dutch Quarter. So my grandmother was right. Nothing before its time and everything in its time. In the lead up to this moment, the residents of Dutch Quarter had to endure many hardships, heartbreaks, disappointments, and political gerrymandering as well as it relates to this project. But here we are today. And yes, my grandfather was right as well. Nothing comes for free. And if it glitters, it's not always gold. There are also two ladies that are from Dutch Quarter, very strong ladies at that too, who also have their own saying. Be grateful for what you have received. And they're right. We should be grateful. Those two ladies are Miss Christina Hodge, we also know her as Mom, and Miss Veronica Arundel, we also know her as Miss Vero. And it's to that fact, I thank the European Development Fund, the EDF, I hope I got the abbreviation right, the government of St. Maarten for now granting the residents of Dutch Quarter the means to be connected to the sewage grid, and at the same time upgrading the original system that was put there before that, eventually it is failing. And to the residents of Dutch Quarter for their understanding and their patience throughout the years, and for the next year and a half or so while the project is ongoing. I received reports from the contractor, so Van Boekel, that in initial phases of their surveying that they did in regards to the connections, that over 90% of the surveys that they did, the residents of Dutch Quarter cooperated with them and giving information and in order to be hooked up to the system, which is a profound thing that should be applauded and should go unnoticed. Should not go unnoticed, I'm sorry. Also, I would like to thank the Dutch Quarter contractors who on their own came together and formed a cooperative in order to guarantee a level playing field and also showing maturity as it relates to cooperating with each other and securing jobs for all involved, and by not undercutting each other, especially in these times post-Hurricane Irma. I also must thank the lead contractor, Van Boekel, BV, and also Mr. Ravi, for raising the bar as to how such projects are executed and also giving back to the community of Dutch Quarter. The residents of Dutch Quarter, young and old, will definitely benefit from such, and we are grateful for that. And in closing, this project is only one facet of what the people of Dutch Quarter wants for their community. The matter of proper street lighting, not only on the main roads, but within the community as well. The putting of the utilities on the ground is also a priority for the residents, as Dutch Quarter was the last or one of the last neighborhoods to regain electricity after the hurricane, but is always the first to go. Last but not least, the road infrastructure also needs great attention with proper sidewalks, drainage, both on the main road and in the streets. But we are patient people, and we will be vigilant and will hold government accountable as we go along. And for this, I once again thank you, thank the government, thank the EDF, thank the contractors, and in a couple of months, we do the groundbreaking for a project that was long awaited for and well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeWeaver, for those remarks. I would now like to invite the department head of new projects within the Ministry of Romi, Mr. Kurt Ruan.
Protocol has been established. It's a great pleasure to be here again, and I kind of continue to repeat that every time I'm in this area. And it very much ties into what Mr. Sidney DeWeaver just said, that government is busy in Dutch Quarter. Government has been busy in Dutch Quarter. As far as I know, the first project that I worked on in Dutch Quarter was the installation of the pressure line after Hurricane Lois, when the Belvedere home was a reality. The sewage connection, enabling the connection of the Belvedere resident to the sewage plant, a pressure line was put in place here, which runs alongside the main road all the way to the sewage plant. So we have been busy in Dutch Quarter since, as far as I goes back to Dutch Quarter, since 1997. That was also the year that I started to work for government. Over the years, Dutch Quarter and also the community of St. Martin has grown. This project is considered a very important project for Dutch Quarter, and not only Dutch Quarter alone, but with the reality and realization of this project, what we will be experiencing is the improving of the living conditions of our residents. As residents, if your living condition is not a pleasant one, then it is a sign of poverty. And that is actually a terminology of which the ambassador of the EU would share with me. I don't always like to hear that terminology when it is said, because the objective of this project is combating of poverty in social issues. But if I would use that word poverty in Dutch Quarter, Pebbles and his crew might jump all over us. But those are the terminologies that are being used, improving lives of residents, improving their living condition. And with this project, with the execution of this project, we're going to see the living condition of residents being improved. Not to say the living condition in St. Martin is somewhat alarming. And when I say alarming, I mean when compared on a global level. St. Martin ranks presently in the top 10 of most dense country in the world. This is information based on the World Bank list. And when you see when you see your country is ranking in these kind of numbers, then it becomes quite alarming. And also to be living in poor conditions is even more something that brings along health issues in health conditions. The connection of the district of Dutch Quarter to the sewage plant is something that will take place when this project would have been completed. Home connections will be put in place as well. And also, we will see the issue of constant running sewage water become something of the past. Right here to our side, in 2005, when there was a flash flood in the area of the cul-de-sac basin, there was also a humongous amount of water that went through Dutch Quarter. Dutch Quarter is also registered as the second flood-prone district of St. Martin. Right now, where we're actually in, how you would say in Dutch, a Dcomm. In a valley, we're in a valley, and all the water runs from the center all the way straight down to the French side. Presently, our French counterparts are not too happy with the size of these gutters that we have constructed, but this was the only way out for us to would have saved lives and avoid further flooding here in Dutch Quarter. This project was undertaken this project was completed right away. We started with the design and the upgrading for Dutch Quarter. And it is where we are now. Various options has been sought for the financing of this project. When the design was prepared in 2011, 2012, the project was placed on the market, but due to liquidity and funding by the government of St. Martin, the government of St. Martin was not in the position to finance the project. Hence, funding was requested through the EU funding agency. As I mentioned, there are also very vital partners involved in this project, such as GEBE. GEBE has committed to install a water tank to the top of the hill, on the top of the Mount William Hill, a 3,000 cubic meter water tank, which will also include, expand and improve the water pressure in the district of Dutch Quarter. Another government-owned company, Telem, is also vigilantly busy with this project with their fiber to home project, and also UTS. So in the end, it would not be that Dutch Quarter will be the first to go off. Dutch Quarter will be the last to go off and the first to come back on. So all overhead cables will be placed on the ground with the cooperation of the landowners. This is something that has been undertaken with the execution of this project. This project, it might not be known for many, but Dutch Quarter is mainly privately owned land. And when I say privately owned land, is that government maybe only owns the main road and a few side roads, and that's about it. The most of the land, for some 70 to 85%, is privately owned land. Without the cooperation of the landowners, this project couldn't have been a success. So I'll first and foremost like to thank the landowners for their cooperation in making this project a reality. It wasn't an easy one because it also comes with demands and questions, and why not, and why not. So I'm very grateful for the cooperation of the landowners in making this project a reality. Where it concerned moving forward, the problem that we would have had of the past, whereas the pumping stations, presently there are 3 pumping stations here. As we go up the hill, these pumping stations will be eliminated by 1 pumping station. 1 huge pumping station will be constructed to the bottom of the hill, and it will be pumped over the hill in 1 shot. This is something that will be carried out by pumps, and will also have a backup pump in the system in the event that a 1 pump fails. In closing, I'd like to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for moving every stone on this project when you take up the helm as Prime Minister, in making sure that all T's were crossed and all I's was dotted. I'd like to thank the Honorable Minister of Rome, Mr. Miklos, who would always call and ask if everything is being followed up with the landowners and everything is in place so that the project could be a success. And also to mention that, not to forget my good colleagues within the Ministry of Rome. I see over there standing Mr. Claudius Boncampo. I could remember in various meetings that we had internally when we would have issues and the present pump pits would be on the verge of collapsing, and Mr. Boncampo would say he needs $500,000 or else there's going to be shit all over the place. And there was not pleasant stories, but it is the truth. My colleague have been having a lot of challenges in maintaining this system. This system, I'm not ashamed to say, but it is not the most ideal system because sewage is transported through gravity to the lowest points. Here, we are pumping sewage over the hill. So you do the math. So, and with all of that comes the headaches, the maintenances. So I must thank my colleague, Mr. Boncampo, who has been coping with this problem through many days and many nights. And as a result, you would see down the line, you would see a big speed bump. It is actually the biggest speed bump in the world. But if you would ask yourself why that speed bump have being created like that, is because there is a sewage pit under there and that whole system has collapsed. So what we did was to build a slab over it and then created like a huge bump, eliminating pressure being placed on that road as well. So also my colleagues within the Bureau of BAC, Miss Olivia Lake, and also her colleagues. I mean, Olivia has also, like myself, been forever involved with this project, even as her tenure within the Department of New Projects. So Olivia, keep up the good works. And also my direct colleagues, Ms. Natalie Perrott, project manager on this project as well too. And Mr. Baco Maynard, I mean, you guys have been doing a great job. To the new kids on the block, Ilako, Mr. Ravi Padanding. He has been involved 3 years in the project, but it is only now is when the actual work start is when we're going to see exactly what we have. And also Van Boekel, I mean, I want to say to you guys, welcome on board. So far, you guys have been doing a great job, but I must say that here in St. Martin, we have a very good track record, in maybe the best track record, with the implementation of the 9th EDF project, which was the Miller Region project. And that project came out as the highest ranking within the Netherlands Antilles of projects executed. So, Your Honor, Governor of Curacao, thank you for your team of ISONA, who was also involved as the contracting authority to help us achieve that. So, thank you very much. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ruan, for that detailed and informative opening remark. I would now like to invite the ambassador of the EU delegation to Guyana for Suriname and with the responsibility for the Dutch overseas countries and territories and St. Barthélemy, His Excellency Jerne Wiedetich.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to participate in this important groundbreaking event in the Dutch Quarter today, which has become possible thanks to excellent collaboration between the European Union and the government of St. Martin. I wish to commend the commitment of all stakeholders involved in this ambitious 10th EDF project. As you may recall, a tender opening for these works was scheduled on the same day in September 2017 when the hurricane hit this island, and thus the tender evaluation process had to be temporarily suspended. Nevertheless, we are here today to commission the start of the works. As European Union, we are impressed by your passion and determination to bring social services delivery closer to St. Martin population in the aftermath of the September 2017 hurricane. These 10th EDF funds, totally 4,750,000 euros, are to be used here in the Dutch Quarter and will have positive results on sanitation, health, and the environment, eliminating the current overflow of septic tanks in heavy rain. Sewerage and potable water are considered major issues here in the Dutch Quarter, together with drainage, eventual flooding leading to pollution downhill from the poor infrastructure-equipped upper areas towards the densely populated lowlands where most tourists come to relax, thus can adversely impact on the primary source of income, tourism, for the island. We congratulate the government for tackling the issue of drainage and sewerage over the last decade, and your commitment is evident by your decision to co-fund this 10th EDF project by 2,372,000 euros. The main activities of the overall project include the following activities: expansion of the sewer network, including home connections, Brandt sewers in the district of Dutch Quarter, upgrading of the main sewer line, construction of 1,000 cubic meters drinking water tank, upgrading the main roads, adjacent side roads, and improvement of the overall drainage system in Dutch Quarter, improvement of public street lighting and related works, construction of pedestrian pathways. This 10th EDF project in the Dutch Quarter represents continuity of the 9th EDF to interventions in the infrastructure sector. Under the 9th EDF from 2000-2007, St. Martin benefited from 5.3 million euros of the 23.8 million program, Urban Infrastructures for Socially Deprived Areas program for the former Netherlands Antilles. Furthermore, support to the infrastructure sector continues through the 11th EDF from 2014-2020, and St. Martin is allocated yet another 7 million euros to assist the government in ensuring proficient sewerage treatment and protection of the marine biodiversity of the island. The European Union will continue its support in the social sectors, education, health, water, and housing, particularly with a view to ensuring equitable access to social services of all peoples of St. Martin through the OCT-EU Association decision. Resilience has been placed firmly at the core of the European Union development agenda for the Caribbean OCTs, following the devastating hurricanes of September 2017. Actions to be implemented through the 11th EDF regional program will ensure that OCTs build back better after natural disasters and will assist them in strengthening your resilience to shock, stresses, and improving recovery and reconstruction. The European Union Regional OCT program will also contribute to the reduction of structural vulnerabilities and improve the resilience of economic infrastructure and fragile coastal ecosystems to extreme recurrent natural events. We congratulate St. Martin for formally joining the Caribbean's Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility in September 2018, which grants insurance coverage against natural disasters such as hurricanes. The CRIF allows the government to access almost immediately available liquidity for rebuilding on a national scale in the case of another major hurricane without having to wait for an on-site loss assessment. Honorable Prime Minister, we are looking forward to the smooth implementation of this project. We would like to express our appreciation for the collaboration, and we are looking forward to further reinforce the EU-St. Martin partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency Viritich, for your opening remarks. I would now like to invite the Honorable Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, the Honorable Miklos Hitersen, to address you.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Good afternoon. Protocol has been established. And again, a very good afternoon to all. Today's groundbreaking ceremony is the culmination of years of anticipation, hard work, and steadfastness by many, many persons. It has taken over 7 years to bring this project to realization, and this project has passed through the hands of many ministers of Romi before me. However, today I have the distinct pleasure and honor to be here with you representing this ministry. I wish to thank the civil servants of the ministry, VROMI, and those of General Affairs Ministry who have coordinated the execution of the project over the years. Your hard work on behalf of the people of Dutch Quarter and for the entire country of St. Martin does not go unnoticed. As satisfying as today is, it is important to note that it is just the groundbreaking ceremony, where we pause to mark the fact that we are entering into the next phase of the project, which is the execution phase. The overwhelming sense of accomplishment will come, however, once this project has been fully completed and the community can truly benefit from better sanitation, a healthier community, proper lighting, sidewalks, and drainage. At the end of this project, Dutch Quarter will be the envy of all surrounding neighborhoods. That is what we expect at the end. To get there, this project will come with some inconveniences to persons in the community. For a period of time, there will be traffic disruptions as the project moves through the various stages. Through my office, I pledge to keep the community updated and informed of milestones, delays, and developments. In turn, I ask the community for their patience and trust. On St. Martin, the lack of sufficient sewage infrastructure has become a critical issue which we have attempted to address within the 2018 to 2022 governing program for St. Martin. The construction of a proper sewage network, investing in our infrastructure, and improving safety and facilities resources are all fulfilled in this project, as it has been of high priority. Also of high priority has been finding ways to address and reduce poverty and unemployment. The fact that we have found a way to involve local young unemployed men of this community is something to be applauded. We have also done the same with owners of heavy equipment. The people of Dutch Quarter will be heavily involved in the rebuilding and betterment of their community. This is a stipulation that I intend to implement more when hiring contractors for large projects such as these. That we go into the neighborhoods and look for the talent there first. As reported, when the project was first conceptualized in 2012, the ultimate objective of the 10th EDF is to improve the living conditions of low-income residents and reduce poverty on St. Martin. I congratulate all stakeholders who played their own part in getting us to where we are today. and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you at the finish line. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Heatherson, for those remarks. Please help me in inviting the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Martin, the Honorable Leona Romeo Marlin, to give her address.
A pleasant good afternoon to everyone. I too adopt the protocol that has been established, but I want to say a special thank you and welcome to the Prime Minister of Curaçao, my good friend Eugene Rugenaert. You know why I say thank you, especially to you, because it's been a journey, and I'm just glad to see you here and to share this moment with us as well. I'm extremely honored to have everyone join here today to celebrate this milestone. The symbolic act signaling the commencement of civil works for the Dutch Quarter Sewage project funded through the 10th EDF European Development Fund. Improving our sewage infrastructure is something that the government of St. Martin continues to pursue. Even more important, it was a promise made to particularly the residents of Dutch Quarter or Lower Princess Quarter or DQ and adjacent areas, and this celebration today is a tribute to realizing this promise. Having successfully completed the programming, financing, and contracting for this project, I had the honor to hand the reins over to my colleague, Minister, the Honorable Miklos Gitterson, earlier this year. To be exact, 6 months ago, I'm reminded, for the execution of these works. Given that, I would like to take this opportunity to express my deep appreciation and thanks to all the stakeholders that have advanced the project to this point. On behalf of the government of St. Martin, I wish to thank the people of Dutch Quarter for their contributions, their concerns, and above all, their patience, as you have so eloquently heard from Mr. Sidney De Wever. And I want to take this opportunity to also, someone that is missing in our midst is one of Dutch Quarter's pillars, Ms. Christina Hodge. She would have loved to be here at this particular moment as she's in the hospital at this moment. Now that we have faced the challenges and addressed the bottlenecks, we stand ready to forge ahead and look forward to your continued cooperation and support that we need to complete the Dutch Quarter Sewage project. I would further like to express my sincere gratitude to the European Commission for their continued commitment to the development of St. Martin, cognizant that the project at hand is one that will certainly benefit St. Martin once completed. I also wish to acknowledge the contributions made by successive ministers of VROMI, their dedicated teams, the guidance of our local professionals at the Department of the Interior and Kingdom Relations, and ILACO NV, and all other stakeholders and contributors to this success. Finally, I wish Godspeed to the contractor, Van Boekelbouw and Infra, charged with constructing the sewerage network and related works, which will alleviate some of the limitations in our infrastructure. Congratulations to St. Martin. Congratulations to the people of Dutch Quarter. And I now take this opportunity to invite all present to join us for a ceremonial groundbreaking. I thank you.